Hey guys, welcome back to the Through Their Eyes podcast. This is season 3, episode number 4. And we have with us today Wayne Rogers, director of program as always. Wayne, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just said glad to be with you.
I'm glad to have you. Glad you're here. And also to my right, does not matter, I guess, to the listeners, but it matters to me, Brother Jeff Archey. Jeff, welcome back.
Thanks. It's great to be back, scattered abroad. It seems like it was just yesterday that I got a phone call. Hey, can you do the lead in to this program, to that program? It was great to be on the ground floor of Scattered Abroad Network.
Well,
love it.
Well, you did. It was a blessing to get to have you be a part of our journey. It's hard to believe how long ago that was.
I know it. Yes.
We're back recording here season 3 because we never got to have a full season for that, and so we're trying to use polishing the pulpit to our advantage, and we're almost done. After Brother Joey Farrell and Brother Larry Acuff come by and do their episodes with us, we'll call it quits on season 3 with quick interviews with ourselves, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
And so we decided to continue the theme from season 3, and that was advice to my younger self. I think about it often with myself. There are moments where I wish I could go back and warn, don't do this, do this instead. So we've asked 4 questions to all of the hosts so far and panelists. We're going to ask you the same 4 questions. The first is this, and before you do this, make sure you introduce IGH and the work you're doing.
Sure.
But if you had the ability to give yourself advice as a child, what would that be?
Okay. All right. Well, as you say, to introduce, of course, Jeff Archey. I'm the director and the speaker of the 90-year running International Gospel Hour radio broadcast, which folks can also find, along with Scattered Abroad Network, can find on various podcast platforms. Our television program is on YouTube with our own YouTube channel on GBN and assorted stations around the world. And so we are blessed to do the works that we do. And if folks want to know more, they can go to internationalgospelhour.com, learn all about us, download our app, whatever you want to know, it's there. So drop us a note, let us know that you heard us here on the Scattered Abroad Network. So what advice would I give myself as a child? I have to admit, I had an older sister who gave me good advice, so I tried to behave myself with my parents all those years and tried not to give them a very hard time. But if I gave myself advice as a child, would probably be listen to preachers more and try to go to Bible camps. I never went to a Bible camp as a child. And so looking back, I would look for all the Bible camps that I could possibly go to and to get to know all the friends that I could.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I loved camp growing up, being able to go to various camps, and I still go to about 4 camps a year now in recruiting. And some of those are at the school, and some of those are near the school, and others are all the way over here near Knoxville. And so I have the privilege of getting to do that still, and I think that's a good piece of advice for sure. You meet a lot of friends there and enjoy a lot of good company.
Yeah.
I know that as you move on through life, you hit those teen years, they can be a little sticky. And so especially thinking about, a lot of our listeners might be teens or might be young adults. And so as we're thinking about those 2 areas, but especially the teens right now, what advice would you give young teen Jeff Archey?
Oh, wow. Probably 2 major things. Number 1, be faithful to God and don't act one way at your public school than you would do at home or at church. I'm thankful that I repented during those years, but it was like it was 2 different Jeffs, and that's not good. I'm thankful that I learned that, but I would tell myself that. And secondly, court more rather than date. Don't try to get involved in dating relationships. Try to make those relationships more meaningful. And I would look back at Jeff and say, behave yourself when you're out on a date, or as my mama used to say, remember whose you are and who you are.
Amen. That's
So
good.
that would be my advice there, just to the point, looking back those years. So, and probably, again, I would probably look at the camp more, but look at more Future Preachers Training Camp, which there was only one when I was a teenager, and that was the one at the Pennington Bend Church of Christ in Nashville, probably what we would call the mother of all future preachers training camps. I would have gone to that, would have been more involved that way.
Yeah.
Would have done things more with the youth and things that young people did at that time. I just didn't know about them. But looking back, I would do that more as a teen as well.
That's good.
Well, and I think sometimes the decisions we make as teenagers can make or break our adulthood at times too. And so there's certainly a lot of teenagers right now that are potentially not making the wisest of choices, and they'll pay for that with their adult lives.
They will.
And if they're even privileged to make it to their adulthood, sometimes
that's right.
Unfortunately, we had another guest this season say, teenagers are not immortal, and they are capable of dying just as easily as anyone else.
That's right.
And so I think of Ephesians 6, 1-3, the idea that is said there specifically in verse 3 that talks about your days might be prolonged on the earth, and you'll live long. Doesn't mean that you'll be immortal or anything of that nature. It just means that when you make foolish decisions, you can shorten the lifespan that you have instead of lengthening it.
That's right.
And the ability that we have to be godly can increase our livelihood.
And the better decisions you make as a teen wind up, or they will eventually become, the wisest decisions in your young adult life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which brings us to that adulthood, the age, 20, all the way until now. You can pick really any time period in that category of space, but there's a lot that we'd probably wish we'd get a do-over in adulthood too. Jeff, what comes to mind that you would say to younger Jeff Archey?
Wow. The Lord had blessed me with so many wonderful goals that I set during that time. Would probably be spend more time in prayer during those years. I look back over and find that my prayer life could have been better. Would have spent more time in prayer those years, more praising than petition of what God has given me, and spent more time in prayer for the days ahead. Also, probably would have spent a little bit more time with older preachers that I could have met and talked with more, get to know older preachers a little better, and spend time with family while you have them here.
Yeah.
Because you look back and those aunts and uncles that are gone now, you wish you'd had a little bit more time. So embrace that time with your family, especially your relatives that are older.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminds me of that song that says, was it Brad Paisley that says, "Go hug Aunt Rita every chance you get," because he knew that she wasn't going to live much longer in this stage of his life. He wished he could go back and say, "I'd go and hug her more."
Sure.
And there's another singer that says, "Call your mother back. Talk for too long. It's probably half the time she'd like. She's the only mother that you have." And the understanding that they're not going to live forever.
That's
and
right.
there comes a day where we all would wish we could pick up the phone again and call or see them at Thanksgiving and the holidays. So that's good advice.
Yeah, and I find myself when I would, be traveling at night back in recent years, my mother-in-law would call me just to see where I was, how I was doing, and everything. Well, now she has Alzheimer's, so she doesn't call me anymore. And then after I talked to her, I would call my mother, who was a night owl. She'd stayed up all night. That was just her, I guess her algorithm, or whatever. She would stay up all night and sleep during the day. So I'd call her, "Where are you? What are you doing?" Well, by the time I got through talking to both of them, half my trip was already made, and it made the evening travel much easier.
Yeah.
And I don't travel at night much anymore. The body just says, "I think you'll do better early in the morning." But do miss those phone calls, I have to admit. So, yes, you're right. But those folks, those relatives, the older ones, or like I said, call Rita. See Aunt Rita every chance you get. So that's it.
Absolutely.
Well, think about, you mentioned about, being around older preachers, getting to know some older preachers. We're all preachers here at the table. I know that you've done some things prior to preaching the gospel on a full-time basis. But when you started preaching, I'm sure, like all of us here, there are things that I wish I wish I would have been able to now go back and tell Preacher Wayne getting started some things to look out for, to be wary of, or to, hey, do this better, or just something. So there may be a couple things that you might think of, and especially this being something that certainly we hope would help encourage preachers as well.
I think one thing, Wayne, is a phrase that I've learned from Rob Whitaker the past couple of years: stay in your lane. I think that's one right there, that when you're brought on to preach at a congregation, you're not there to do everything.
Oh, man.
You're not there to make elders better elders. Now, you want to do that and help them where you can. You're not there to make deacons better deacons. Now, you want to, and you want to help them where you can. But you're there to focus on your work as an evangelist and what you are to do. And if you take more on yourself than what you are supposed to, it's going to wind up to bite you. And so I would tell myself, let me focus on the things that I am to do as an evangelist, as a preacher, and not overload myself.
Yeah.
Not to get involved with a lot of other things. The late Bobby Duncan gave me some great advice. He said, Jeff, you're going to be invited to speak at different places, and that's good. But if you neglect your home fires, it's never good. Keep the home fires burning. Tell brethren no, and they'll understand.
Yep.
And so I tell myself now, if it's for International Gospel Hour or focus there, keep your focus, stay in your lane. But I would tell the younger Jeff Archey, don't try to be everything to everybody. Now, I know what Paul said, become all things to all men, but he's talking about the aim of saving some.
Right.
But focus on the work as a preacher and what you are to be about doing, and do your very best and stay in your lane. That's what I would have told myself when I went into full-time work over 20 years ago, and what I would do now and what I try to do now.
Yeah, I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thankful to you, Jeff. I always have said this, and I think I've said it on the podcast before, but Jeff usually waits about 30 seconds to answer the phone, and it's because he's figuring out how he's going to hype you up. And every time I've ever called Jeff, it rings for about 20 seconds at least, and then all of a sudden he picks up the phone and he says, if it isn't the greatest preacher and he's such an encourager, been a great encourager to me. I appreciate it so much.
Well, you're welcome. What about Michael Clark, live and in living color? How am I going to be blessed today?
It's just like it's second nature.
Well, and I'll tell this one on Wayne, and this is a true story. Wayne, I guess we met close to 30 years ago when you were preaching in Georgia.
Yeah, I had just started preaching.
Yeah, you had started preaching, and I was impressed with Wayne and knew of your work and everything. And then you came to me and said, I'm going to the Memphis School of Preaching. And I looked at him, Michael, just as serious, and I said, to teach? And Wayne said, no, I'm going to school to learn. I said, whoa. Really? Because, I mean, you had preached and you had done a great work in Georgia and what you were doing. And Wayne, I remember I looked at you and I might have said something along this line, go to school dumb. I tell guys going to school of preachings, go to school dumb. Don't walk in there thinking you know everything. You will be humbled quick. You go in there as a sponge. You go in there with the aim of learning. Now, you might have covered that a dozen times, but time 13 is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And so since we're looking at going back to younger, I tell guys, go in there hungry. Of course, I've shared with a lot of guys this week, and I've even written a card for them to give to BJ to give them extra credit and to put on their papers. Brother Archie said, you'll give me extra credit. So I'm putting your dad on the spot.
That's right.
So I'm sure that will probably decrease my invitations to the West, but nevertheless. So anyway.
You may not like why you're invited.
But I tell you, it's great to just look back, and it is our prayer that people that hear these podcasts, the younger preachers, make your wise decisions now. Take what we say, cull through it, use the good, and apply it.
Yeah.
And the world is ahead. The Lord loves us. All things work together for good to them that love the Lord, who are called according to His purpose.
Yeah.
And it's just an honor to spend time with you guys today.
We're so
Michael,
glad
it's
you're
an
here,
honor
brother.
to spend time with you, Wayne, to watch how things have opened the doors through the years, the 416 ministry you're doing. It just thrills my soul, and to see how things open, how things go. Of course, they can't see us here, but I got Bradley over here to my right, and I'm thrilled that anytime I hear of the doors open for you guys and great opportunities, all the guys on the Scattered Abroad Network, you're just super guys. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jeff,
you,
for
brother.
being here with us and giving us some advice that you'd give to your younger self that we would also like to give to our own selves. Next week, we'll have Joey Farrell on. if you're wondering about did that really happen for this week, we've already got one recorded that we had forgotten about. It's with Drew Smith. I knew that was going to happen. Drew Suttles and Bradley Smith.
The cousin to Drew Smith.
That's right, Bradley Smith.
Cousin Drew.
And they'll be on with me this Thursday, and it is a long one, so get ready. Until then, take care, and God bless.